At the beginning of the movie, we are shown the surroundings inside a prison, where a police officer named Green is assigned the task of delivering money to a high-profile prisoner. While Green is preparing the stash of money, we are introduced to the prisoner, BuIIy. He is a notorious drug lord who carries out all of the illegal activities, like drug trafficking, human organ smuggling, and weapon transport, despite being incarcerated inside prison. BuIIy actually stays in this prison because he believes it's the safest place, where his enemies can't reach him, and he can smoothly run all the illegal trades without being caught. BuIIy has access to 5-star level facilities inside the prison, with his personal guards and assistants. In the next scene, new prisoners, including an ex-officer named Jack Stone, are brought in and are informed that they will be housed in the same building as BuIIy. While each of them is being inspected and sent to their respective cells, Officer Green stops Jack on the way and physically assaults him. He hits him with a baton on his stomach and also berates him for killing a fellow police officer. Before walking away, Green warns Jack that he will give him a hard time inside the prison so that he won't last long. The story then flashes back a week before, when Jack and his fellow officers rob a bank as planned. Unbeknownst to others, their real motive was to gather incriminating evidence against BuIIy, corrupt government officials, and police officers involved in different criminal activities. After successfully acquiring the evidence from the bank lockers, they attempt to flee the scene, but are intercepted by other officers. In the ensuing confrontation, Jack's colleagues get shot and die on the spot. However, Jack somehow manages to flee and seeks refuge inside a building with some officers in pursuit. Later, as Jack attempts to escape the area, he is confronted by an officer who threatens to kill him. However, Jack surprises the officer by revealing his face and then jumping from the building, taking the officer with him. Here, it is revealed that the officer was responsible for Jack's wife's murder. Both of them lie flat on the floor, and the officer immediately passes away. After surviving the deadly fall, Jack discreetly leaves a bag in front of the apartment of a reporter named Trisha. The bag contains the evidence of corrupt government officials involving BuIIy. In a letter, Jack urges Trisha to report the case to the district attorney's office. Fast forward to the present, Jack finds himself incarcerated alongside an inmate named Silva. Later, during lunch, BuIIy's cousin Semyon approaches his table and confronts him, demanding security money. However, Jack refuses, and this results in a scuffle between the two parties. To everyone's surprise, he easily takes down Semyon and his men. Following this, Jack is taken to a secret prison where he is contacted by BuIIy via security cameras. BuIIy warns Jack to stop meddling in his affairs, or else he will meet a fate like his deceased wife's. However, BuIIy's threats have no effect on Jack, as he listens to them, unfazed. Later that night, 3 of BuIIy's henchmen try to attack Jack in his cell, but to their surprise, he quickly wakes up and subdues them, without even disturbing his sleeping cellmate Silva. On the other hand, Trisha diligently investigates the evidence she received from Jack, and tries to gather more information about the personnel mentioned there. After putting in some effort, she also uncovers Jack Stone's real identity. The next day, armed with sufficient proof, Trisha arrives at the attorney's office and talks to the receptionist to arrange a meeting in person with the district attorney. However, the receptionist informs her that he is busy and she cannot meet him. As an alternative, she suggests Trisha hand over the evidence to the attorney's assistant Mark. However, Trisha does not trust him with the evidence, so she walks out of the office. That evening, she waits for the attorney to exit his office, hoping she can have a face-to-face meeting and submit the evidence. When the District Attorney General Johnson finally walks out, Trisha quickly approaches him. Without wasting any time, she reveals all the evidence against the corrupt officials and police officers to him. Impressed with her determination and the collection of evidence, Johnson praises her, gives her his personal card, and urges her to call him if she needs any assistance. In the next scene, Trisha makes her way to the prison to meet Jack and shares the news that she's actively using the information he provided her. In response, Jack tells her that she's on the right track and advises her to be cautious with the evidence. Soon after, he is approached by an older inmate named William, who warns him about the dangers of crossing BuIIy's men. However, Jack boldly declares that he isn't afraid of anyone. He then inquires about BuIIy's cell location, but William explains that it's a closely guarded secret, known to only a few prison guards. Elsewhere, we are shown a female prison, where 2 inmates engage in a heated fight. The confrontation in the cafeteria is so intense that the guards are forced to intervene and separate them. One of the fighting inmates is Alina, and she is later taken to BuIIy, with her face covered with a black mask. Upon reaching BuIIy's luxurious prison, Alina notices other prisoners also present there. She is brought there because she engaged in a fight with one of BuIIy's favorite female prisoners. To everyone's surprise, BuIIy announces that they need to eliminate Jack to claim a hefty reward of $100,000. Following BuIIy's offer, the prisoners unite and launch an attack on Jack while he's engaged in conversation with William. However, they have no idea that Jack himself himself is a trained officer, and with the help of William, he skillfully counters the assault, defeating all the attackers. Meanwhile, BuIIy receives an alarming call from Attorney Johnson, who discloses Trisha's possession of incriminating evidence against him. Johnson also mentions that she has such detailed information that no attorney can overlook. Enraged, BuIIy instructs Johnson to take care of Trisha immediately, while he himself plans to eliminate Jack by day's end. Later, during Jack's laundry time, a group of prison guards storm in, determined to claim the rewards set by BuIIy. Jack initially finds himself outnumbered and suffers blows from the guards' batons, thinking that he will get into trouble for attacking police officers. But when he learns that they are only after the reward, he summons his courage and fights back. One by one, Jack takes all the corrupt officers down. However, as he leaves the laundry area, another group of prisoners confronts him, ready to attack. Jack attempts to reason with them, explaining that the promised prize isn't worth the risk, especially when divided among all of them. Surprisingly, his logic strikes a chord, and the prisoners reconsider, deciding to back off. In the meantime, Trisha meets her friend Allison, asking for help. She confides in her, sharing all the intricate details about BuIIy, the evidence, and the corrupt officials involved in the criminal network. After listening to the details, Allison agrees to help her. Back in the female prison, Alina attempts to reconcile with BuIIy's favorite prisoner, Kat. However, the latter isn't forgiving, and she instigates another brawl, landing a punch in Alina's face. Faking unconsciousness, Alina lies on the floor and is taken to the prison doctors for further examination. As the doctor leaves to attend to other matters, Alina skillfully opens her handcuffs using a paperclip, secretly puts some alcohol and medicine in William's cleaning bucket, and takes a key to the air vent from there. She then enters the air vent and finds her way to the CCTV camera room. Before returning to the medical room, she draws a map of the path on her stomach. The next day, Trisha again arrives at the prison to converse with Jack. She claims that she has gathered a significant amount of information regarding his past. She then confronts him about the killing of a fellow officer, seeking an explanation. Jack decides to trust Trisha and reveals the painful truth behind the incident. His wife was brutally murdered by BuIIy's men, who also included the police officer he killed. Later, Jack shockingly discovers that William, whom he had considered just another inmate, is actually an undercover officer. He asks him about the duration of his duty, and William shares that he has been working covertly for 6 months with a mission to expose the corrupt prisoners and government officials working with BuIIy. To achieve this, he has partnered with Alina, who is also working undercover within the prison, trying to uncover hidden evidence and BuIIy's networks. While Jack is listening to William's revelation, the two suddenly find themselves under attack by other prisoners. A fierce fight breaks out, and amidst the chaos, Jack is falsely accused of instigating the brawl. As a consequence, he is thrown into solitary confinement as punishment, leaving him isolated and confused. Elsewhere, William is summoned to meet Blaine, the prison warden, who has a history of clashing with BuIIy's men. Aware of William's intentions, he takes advantage of the situation and threatens to expose him unless he provides more money. Meanwhile, Trisha persists in her efforts to meet the district attorney Johnson, but his busy schedule keeps him away from her. One day, the attorney's assistant Mark approaches Trisha and pressures her to hand over the evidence she has gathered against BuIIy and his associates. However, she still does not give in and walks out from there. Later, in the prison, BuIIy's daughter arrives to meet him, leading to his temporary release and transfer to the meeting chamber. William spots BuIIy as he exits his cell and signals Alina to initiate their plan. As soon as she gets the signal, Alina pretends to faint, diverting the attention of the guards and compelling one of them to carry her to the doctor. While on the way, she and William take down the guard, gaining control over the CCTV room and prison operations. Following this, William observes through the surveillance cameras that BuIIy is about to leave the visiting room. Quick on his feet, he unlocks Jack's solitary confinement cell and sets him free. Jack, determined to take down BuIIy, incapacitates a prison guard and disguises himself in the guard's uniform, with William and Alina guiding him from the CCTV room. Jack follows their instructions to navigate the prison stealthily and reach BuIIy's private cell before he returns. The stakes are high, but they are determined to expose BuIIy's criminal empire and bring the corrupt officials to justice. Shortly after, Blaine and several prison guards discover an unauthorized entry into the CCTV room. They attempt to access the room, while Alina finds a clever escape route through the ventilation ducts. Realizing that BuIIy is being heavily guarded by prison guards and their time is running out before he returns to his cell, William does something drastic. He decides to create chaos by unlocking all the prison cells, allowing the enraged prisoners to retaliate against the guards who mistreated them. Officer Green tries to flee, but is stopped by Jack, who shoves him into a group of vengeful prisoners. On the other hand, William and Alina engage in fierce battles with the attacking inmates. Jack somehow makes his way towards Balam's prison cell and confronts Semyon. The two engage in a brutal fight, and Semyon stabs Jack with a knife. But despite the injury, our hero digs down deep and ultimately defeats his opponent before proceeding to Balam's chamber. Meanwhile, a shocking revelation unfolds outside the prison. Allison, who had promised to help Trisha, is actually working for the corrupt attorney Johnson. She hits her friend and points a gun at her, following Johnson's orders. However, before Allison can harm Trisha, Mark, an undercover FBI agent posing as a prosecutor's assistant, intervenes to save her. Here it is revealed that Mark is on a mission to expose the corrupt District Attorney Johnson and other government officials involved in the conspiracy. Back at the prison, William successfully incapacitates Warden Blaine and the remaining guards, while Jack enters Balam's prison. He faces off with Balam in a fierce one-on-one battle, but the latter gains the upper hand and knocks him down. However, Jack finds the strength to rise again, fueled by the memory of his wife's tragic death at the hands of Balam's men. With renewed determination, he defeats Balam, avenging his beloved wife. Next, the SWAT team arrives just in time to regain control of the chaotic situation. Once the dust settles, William introduces Jack and Alina to each other, expressing gratitude for their collaboration in dismantling Balam's criminal empire from both inside and outside the prison. Jack, in turn, thanks the duo for their invaluable assistance in achieving his long-awaited revenge. As a result of the investigation, the FBI arrests all corrupt government officials and police officers who were collaborating with Balam. In the last scene, Jack is taken into custody by William, with the promise of a swift release in a short period of time. The movie then ends with a sense of justice served and the eradication of the malevolent forces that once plagued both the prison and society at large. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.